Okay, guys, we're live, and here we are on May 22nd, 2022. Is that right? Yeah.
Something like that.
And you're looking at probably 200 years worth of comic book collecting between the three of us. Bunch of guys hanging out on a Sunday trying to figure out what to talk about with comics and stuff. Started telling tales, and Breen was the one going, "Let's go live, man. Let's do it." No. So what you have over here is Mr. Eric Breen. I jokingly for like a week or two there joked about he was like the whore of YouTube, and he's not. He's like that celebrity back in the day of game shows that, like $10,000 pyramid, the match game. If you have the game show network, you know what I'm saying. And Breen is you're like the celebrity on all these channels and stuff, just like those great celebrities back in the day, like Betty White and stuff that would pop up on all kinds of channels and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Just don't call me Charles Nelson Riley.
I was actually avoiding that. That's exactly who came to mind the first time.
That's who came to mind for me.
Then you had the man who runs the Fossil Show on Graphics Man's channel. We have Mr. Graphic Man down there. Is he wearing a turban right now? Well, I thought you dressed up for it. Oh man. And we got the Mr. Graphic Man down there, man, who has decided to pop in also and stuff, right? And I think, you know what, guys? I'm actually going to put the link in the comments in case anybody else pops up. So I'll put that out there. But I got to know who you are. So.
Yeah, it's risky.
All right. So it has actually been, you're on the rainy Sunday show. It's actually been raining here. And funnily enough, I've not been reading comics today. I've been reading my Destroyer books. And I'm like destroying this while I'm reading, man. I'm already like 4 chapters through in an hour. This stuff can be devoured. I got a ton of other books that I like, feels like work to going through, but you read a Remo Williams story with Chun and you're just like there, just in it. It's satire is what it is. I'm older now and I realize it's satire. I thought it was just comedy when I was a kid and stuff. Right. And you guys been reading anything worth talking about?
I've just been reading random, books from the 60s and 70s to, fill a box, have something to show this week. So I think the last thing I read was Howard the Duck #6.
I'm not going to grab my box to see which one it is. Is that the Shang-Chi issue?
No, it's
close.
The Secret of the Cellar Sinister. It ends up with a giant gingerbread man being brought to life.
Well, my favorite issue is issue 2 with the Turnip Man, the Cosmic Turnip.
Space Turnip.
Yeah. Back when they could pull stuff like that off,
Yeah.
Well, back when comics were allowed to be fun.
That's right. Currently, I'm just reading a bunch of Flash Gordon, either novels or the reprinted comic strips, and having a blast with those.
Yeah. Flash Gordon is huge in this house, man. I always talked about, like, I was at that age when like Star Wars came out, and I can barely remember pre-Star Wars, but after Star Wars, it feels like everything changed everywhere, not even in pop culture and stuff. We got Buck Rogers back. We had that Filmation Flash Gordon cartoon that I got over here. And I was so into that stuff that when they did the comic book adaptation of Return of the Jedi and they got Al Williamson on there, I got the connections, the big Flash artist doing Star Wars that inspired. That's how deep I got into this stuff, even like when I was a kid.
Did that book have a blue cover? Did it have a real dark blue cover with Luke right in the middle of it? Your Return of the Jedi book. I think I had that. And
it came out in a Marvel super special edition. Then they broke it up into 4 parts. It was Sienkiewicz covers on those.
It was of course paperback, but it was very kind of tough. It was
like a magazine size, and then they had 4 comics that came out there. Sienkiewicz did like the covers to each one, so there was 3 characters on each cover. Yeah. I'm actually one. Yeah, I keep them handy. Yeah. And what's great about these is that they are tore up. Honestly, man, these were the things that I like read and reread, and I would like trace inside of them on paper and stuff, trying to get some of those. They had pin-ups of the spaceships and the characters from Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi was that movie where I couldn't believe my mom did it. Out of the blue, she grabbed me and my brother, and we lived in separate houses. And she grabbed us on a Sunday without telling us, and we showed up at the mall at noon. And of course, they weren't going to show the movie till like 6 or 7 that night because it was Return of the Jedi, big night. And we ended up standing in line for like 5 hours. But what was so cool about it is inside of a mall, we could each take turns, holding a spot. And I shot pool most of the day, like so in the arcade, So yeah, Return of the Jedi, shooting pool. It was all good. Apparently, I was the only one that didn't get mad about the Ewoks. I don't get it, So they're not that bad, They're cannibals when you look at it.
Yes.
I caught that real quick. All right, Shirley Tim is here. Haven't seen you around in a while. And then we got the comic collector. What's up? Warsmith Scotty is here. Nice. Now, you've been reading the Steve Gerber stuff. And Steve Gerber to me is like, he doesn't, I think it was like John Bernard said it something. And I like when I realize something. And then like, I feel like I hear somebody else like in the comic industry say something around the same way. And I'm like, I feel like I had it. But when I was a kid, I realized real quick that Steve Gerber wrote Mind Trips. You know what I mean? Like he didn't just write a comic book. He freaking made a little movie in there in that stuff. Right. And I've actually got the first Steve Gerber comic, I think here. I think I've showed this to you guys before, man, but this is the Guardians of the Galaxy and this are my go-to Steve Gerber, this Iron Man Man-Thing story with Molecule Man. And there's the original I read when I was a kid, all beat up and stuff. I would have hell of a collection if I had taken care of my comics instead of reading them. Isn't that amazing? And I'm going to get your opinion on this, man. If you guys like Dreadstar, I could not get a handle on it. Do you guys like Jim Starlin's Dreadstar?
I really have never read them.
I just traded in like something like 70 issues of the series from all the companies and stuff. And I ended up getting some like collectible comics, like a first print Killing Joke and some stuff like that. I had them forever, tried to read them, couldn't get into them. And I keep running across this graphic novel for like $1. And every time I find one, they're in better and better shape.
Good.
And I think I got the Epic Illustrated and stuff. It's where I read most of them and stuff. I could tell it looked beautiful, but I just couldn't get it to do anything for me. Time for a new camera. I'm getting whited out every show I do. Oh, man. So we were talking before, Breen, and you left me in suspense, man. And I'm sure you told the story before, but when did you start collecting comics? What was it like?
Late 1975.
Wow.
I was into baseball cards and horror movie magazines and anything I could think of to collect. But I had an older brother, so I tended to follow along. If he got into something, I, of course, would want to. And he got into comics for about 8 months when he was 16 because one of his friends was dabbling in them. And that's where I saw my first back issues. Like I remember he had Avengers 9, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And so I went to a card show, and one of the dealers just happened to have a stack of comics there, and I got curious, so I bought, I think, Spider-Man 31 and 34, and that kind of got me, interested in continuing. So about the next month, I think the February 1976 books came out. And I think I picked up Iron Man, Fantastic Four, Action, Superman, Batman, Detective.
Yeah, I was about to,
Dracula.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you were one of those Marvel zombies back in the day, so I'm glad you threw something out.
No, I actually, the first year I collected, I thought DC was better. I didn't know better, but I'd heard of Batman and Superman. I mean, I knew who Spider-Man was from those books that I bought because, I don't think I'd been exposed to the cartoon from 67 at that time. And so, I picked characters. I mean, I bought Tomb of Dracula because I was a horror movie fan. I like the Universal stuff. So I thought, hey, this is cool. And my brother was an Iron Man fan, if I remember correctly. So that's why I got that. And So yeah, that's what got it started. And each month, there was a couple drugstores that would get the new books, and each month I expanded it a few titles, and then by the end of the year, I was buying everything that my allowance would, afford.
And what were they? I'm trying to think of this era. They were like, seriously, they were like 25 cents, 30 cents.
For the first 4 or 5, well, DC raised their prices, I think, the next month.
Yeah.
Marvel waited until the books that were listed September.
Yep. I've got a comic here somewhere. I always mean to pull it out and keep it where I can find it, but this is back in the days where it was real different, because I remember the half a page little editorial where DC was taking the time to not only apologize for raising the prices up a nickel, maybe a dime. They were explaining why. Like, they were really giving you the inside scoop on why they have to do this, and they're only doing it because it's necessary. So that's one of the things about comics back in the day, where it just felt like, even though it was an introverted sort of hobby, where it was like you and the comic and sitting down and maybe you had some friends to talk about, but you had them like talking to you in it and stuff. I mean, I know Stan Lee really started that, but that's a big difference I see in the comics and stuff.
Well, yeah, DC did that when they went from 15 to 20 and 20 to 25, and then why they were doing the 52 pages or whatever. But man, for a company that aimed at kids, those explanations sounded like they were explaining it to their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it just came across as just stuffy as hell, because all of their interaction with creators or management and fans it was just
overly professional. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Stan was lively. I mean, he talked to you like, you were sitting in the auditorium at one of his college lectures. And DC was, just like it was, well, I mean, DC was suit and tie.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel was, bell bottoms and, t-shirts.
And the kids that grew up on comics that had no shame about it,
I think you probably hit puberty and made the switch from DC to Marvel.
I can see that. Yeah. A graphic man, you told us right before the show, 1974, huh?
Yeah. I'm a couple of years younger than Eric, but anything with a cartoon or a comic or the Sunday funnies, I was just devouring. My parents tried to, hey, let's go to California and see the redwoods, and I would be in the back seat with something like this or a Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I was more interested in this than seeing whatever they wanted to show me. So, but many times I would hear, "Hey, graphic boy." Well, I was not graphic man back then. Hey, graphic, look at this. It's
I personally would like to think that you were graphic boy before graphic man. So I'm going to hold on to that. All right.
Exactly. But then I discovered reprints, and I realized all that stuff I missed, before I was born, and I just totally fell in love with it. I couldn't afford all the Marvel or all the DC, so I had to be very selective, because I still wanted a gold key and stuff like that. But back then, we found books at somebody's house that have all the covers ripped off of them. But that was my exposure to DC, especially in the early 70s. There'd be a black and white page in the middle advertising all the covers of all the books that DC had for sale. And I would see stuff like Our Army at War, where the guy is pretending to be dead. Here come the Germans, and there's a cobra right here, get ready to strike the guy. And as a Marvel fan, I was like, well, I wish I could find that DC book, because that looked pretty cool. So I thought DC's way of advertising was geared directly at me, because it showed you all the covers. Here's all the stuff you're missing. And I definitely was missing a lot. So the older I get, I could go back and find all those DCs that at the time, I just couldn't afford.
Yeah.
And
to talk about what Eric was talking about, the price increase, then DC started making all those 100 pagers and the dollar comics. And today we look back fondly and think how great they are, because look at all these pages I'm getting. But I couldn't come up with all that money as a kid. You barely had enough money. You'd ride your bike to the store, and I can get a Slurpee, a candy bar, or a comic book, and many times it was a comic book. So,
yeah, I'm with you. I told you guys, I've told the story dozens of times on here, so maybe I got it down to a science, not taking too much time. But I'm like a lot like you guys, a little bit different. But if you take that 70s show and you have all the kids down in the basement, stick in a little 4-year-old blonde haired, Dutch boy haircut blonde kid carrying around a big grape knee high or something. Peach knee high was my drink, but they only had grape in the house, right? So they'd have all their friends come over, and I had our uncle living with us at some point in time and stuff. So the stepdad and the uncle, everybody was real young and stuff, had the grocery bags, and that's where they stuck all their comics and stuff. And then the room I had, that's where they would put their magazines and keep all this stuff, right? So I had all this stuff in front of me, and it's like, to me, it's like having a TV in the house. That's how normal all this felt. It didn't really feel like I was doing anything special. But as I grew older, I caught real quick there was a stigma in comics, right? And then, like, you're kind of left to your own devices. You know what I mean? So everybody be like, I'd go to bed and they'd be playing like their 8-tracks and their albums of Kiss and Deep Purple, Creedence and all this stuff. And I'm trying to go to sleep. I'd get up the next morning, people would be sleeping on the couch. I remember this one time, this one guy actually passed out in the bathroom and ripped the shower curtain. And and I'd go through the couches and sometimes their pockets and pile of laundry. And that's where I got my money to do this, because we lived right next door to a mom and pop shop that had candy, Kiss trading cards, Superman trading cards, and every now and then a few comics. So I would also go around the neighborhood on my big wheel, and I would collect bottles. And I wasn't supposed to cross the road, but I would go over to this place called National Market and trade those in and get, I don't know, $2-3 worth of change. So on a good day, and I thought I was the shit. But what I found out as I got older is everybody knew I was going around the neighborhood getting bottles. The old folks were leaving them on the porch for me. I never said thank you. I thought I was just finding this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, they're throwing out money at like 5 years old. I'm like,
Yeah,
so on a good day, it would be me with a couple of new packs of Kiss cards, Superman cards, wacky packs, a grape knee-high candy, milk cart in front of a pinball machine with the rolling numbers. Act like I'm on Bad News Bears doing it. I have very fond memories, So I went from there, You
can get a whole dime for a 16-ounce bottle back then, and it
was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome, man. I mean, it's a fond memory that has stayed with me. But as things went on, all these pulps and books and stuff are in front of me, but you're kind of left to your own devices. So Antenna was big around here back then. I'm sure it was everywhere else, I would imagine, and stuff. So it was nothing to go to the grandmother's house and find a little 10-inch black and white TV, and I'm playing with aluminum foil, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching Superman from, the George Reeves Superman, the Batman TV show. Sundays, they used to have Godzilla, and they would have a Godzilla movie. Before, they'd have a Star Trek episode and then a Godzilla movie. And that would be Sundays if I was outside playing. My stepdad would walk to his friend's house down the road, and then I would pop in. I remember the first Star Trek I watched is where they were at I'm sitting here going blank now, man. It was Tombstone. They were the Cowboys. They splintered.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first Star Trek, and I was very confused because I didn't like cowboys at the time. I'm like, what? I thought this was the big sci-fi show, I was like this even as a kid with my what the hell, man, and then it was just everywhere, man. You had Wonder Woman, Linda Carter Wonder Woman. You had the Incredible Hulk on TV, Johnny Quest and Battle of the Planets. I would find Super Friends, Filmation Batman, The New Adventures of. I mean, it was everywhere. Harlem Globe. They had the Globetrotters, and then I remember when they made them superheroes. You had the Robotic Stooges. I mean, it was everywhere. So when I got older in the early 80s, I started picking up on the stigma of comics, and it actually was a little confusing considering it felt like it was still everywhere. You know what I mean? It broke my heart when I watched Lone Ranger on TV, which I thought was fantastic. So it broke my heart when that Lone Ranger movie came out and everybody said it sucked. And I'm like, no, I'm like, I recently watched it and yes, it did, so I was like, But I remember when Dark Phoenix was the stuff. That was the one that was everywhere. You couldn't pick up a comic without it being mentioned in the letters column. I got this magazine that my stepdad had. It took me, I think Paolo helped me find it, but they took the actual pages of the Dark Phoenix saga and put new word dialogue to it to make it a comedy and stuff. So I could not get away from it. And I load the X-Men to about 1985 with the Asgardians. You know,
so was there something in the first year or so that you guys were into this that made you realize that this is a hobby I'm going to stick with maybe forever? I mean, there's, like, did something come out early? Because I think about that and I go, if you're trying to get into comics now and you aren't, well, to be honest, if you're not a far leftist or an identitarian, what would keep you in the hobby? Today, if you were just trying to break in, the prices are ridiculous. The content, most of it is, like I said, lecture instead of adventure. Was there anything that came out in your formative year that said, yeah, I'm going to stick with this?
Go ahead, Graphic Man.
Oh, well, for me, it was the art. And I didn't know that you're supposed to call this visual storytelling or something like that. But I became so enamored with all these different art styles. And my grade suffered in school because while they're talking, I'm busy drawing, characters. And so today I make fake graphics where I just love blending all kinds of silly stuff. But it was the art. The stories were great. But if they changed an artist, like I became very upset when John Byrne quit X-Men, or for whatever reason, maybe he was forced out. But that irritated me to no end. So for me, that was visual. I don't know about Howler.
With me, believe it or not, Kirby scared the crap out of me. I would have OMAC #1 with the girl in the concrete that I didn't realize was a robot, and that just like terrified me. So if I had to go to sleep at night and there's any Kirby around, there was a losers comic also without a cover that had demons on the front. I'd actually have to flip those over as a kid to go to bed. But at the same time, it was two things that made me realize I was a reader. I didn't realize I was a collector until 1982 when I looked around my room and saw that I had the Justice League All-Star Squadron, Crossover, Crime Syndicate, and I was starting to realize I knew these characters, and that's what made me excited. It went from this thing just being overwhelming the senses and reading these little stories and kind of connecting dots and realizing I knew people, that in 1982, I was 9, but I had the Justice League. I still have them. George Perez covers of the Crime Syndicate busting out, going after the Justice League. And you had all these floating heads around it from 3 teams. And that's when I looked around my room and realized I was organizing things. And I had stacks of comics now that I was trying to keep straight so I could not to be neat, but so I could find stuff to reread and stuff. And that's when I realized I was a collector. Before that, what kept me kind of going were 2 things. Charles Schultz peanut collections, and those little books. I got some over here, those little pocket books of peanut strips and stuff, right? And heavy metal. Even as a kid, those 2 things, reading heavy metal as a kid, those European artists, I knew this was different. I knew this was hardcore, and I knew I wasn't supposed to be reading it. And something about it being forbidden is what did it. I was reading stuff I shouldn't have. And those monster magazines that I found out it was Stan Lee. There was all kinds of Fangora magazines and stuff around too. But there was one, I think it was called Monsters, that it was like a comic strip. They would take stills from the old Universal monster movies and everything like that. And it turns out it was Stan Lee adding dialogue to make them funny, like a little strip. Those 3 things kept me going. I would get real excited. And then, of course, there was a guy named John Byrne. Before I knew it was John Byrne, his art just fascinated me. And then I got older and realized how all this connected. And then I'll say this, and I can go on and on, but I'll say this. But there was also a little pocket book. It was Steve Ditko's Spider-Man, where he went up against the Hulk in a cave. as a little kid who went outside and played for hours and hours, break of dawn up until the street lights came on. That's when you knew it was time to come home, get your bath and stuff, right? But it was a little pocketbook. They had Doctor Strange and stuff, but it was the one, I think, what is that, Spider-Man 13 or 14? Maybe 14. I'm thinking Fantastic
14 Four, in the cave, yeah.
Well, it's that one, and as a kid being outside, I know how nasty this stuff is. I know we live by a river, pretty much in a swamp over here, with woods and everything to play in, right? So Spider-Man gets into a pool of stagnant water in a cave to hide from the Hulk, and I thought that was the biggest drama ever. Thinking, oh my God, he's going to catch something. That water is nasty. I could smell it, how bad it was. And I could smell sulfur when I was reading this. And as a little kid, that's big time drama where somebody's trying to beat you up and you're hiding. Don't tell me you guys never been in that situation. I'm just saying. I'm like, so. And then the Thing had a guy who was, is it Darkoth? But Dr. Doom or somebody turned his best friend into like this purple demon looking dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what was he called?
I want to say Darkoth, but that does not sound right.
I want to say it's like Darkhold before they came up with that as a book, but that doesn't sound right either. But I know exactly who you're talking about because it was issue 142.
So I'm reading this, and I think this was later on. I don't think it was I have his first appearance, but it was later on whenever he popped up, maybe in the 190s. I don't know. But he was sitting there and they're doing the thought balloon thing. I'm sorry. Some people say it's not called thought balloon. It's a thought balloon to me, right?
It should be.
Yeah. He was sitting there thinking, he was like, Ben doesn't know I'm his ex-best friend. As a 6 or 7-year-old kid, that's heavy drama. I'm sitting here like, oh God, he's fighting his best friend. It was storylines like that kind of kept me going, wanting to keep reading. That felt like real drama to me. Like, oh the irony of you're fighting your best friend and you don't know it. For some reason, really tore me up at the time.
Yeah, you read Fantastic Four for the great stories. The art's good too. You read Conan for the art, and then the story.
Yeah,
your mileage may vary, but no, they ought to be called thought balloons, and we ought to still have them. And when I was little, I figured out, that little dotted line around the balloon, that means they're whispering. It's like once I could learn the code, like, I could enjoy it better.
Well, to be a collector, you were figuring out rules of storytelling that only works in comic strips and comics.
Right.
Okay. And that's kind of the way you were able to separate a comic book collector from a casual reader. And I do think that's important. It's two different conversations when you get around them. You know what I mean?
Yes, because in the movie, when the guy walks into the dark room and the door closes behind him, you're not hearing his thoughts. You're just watching his reaction and his big eyes when he's looking at everything. But in the comics, you get to hear the thoughts and the word balloons.
Yeah, which is why these become living, breathing characters, even though you're forgiving of some of the corny dialogue. People don't really talk like that, but they're communicating the story, which is why, like, when people take liberties with those characters and stuff, I'm like, did you not read this? He would not act like this. And I'm stigmatized by that. I can let a lot of stuff go, but when they get totally out of character, I'm like, you didn't read this stuff. You have characters you were actually inside their head, they without them realizing that's what they were doing, Daredevil's the biggest one. It seems like Daredevil did the most thinking in his head when I was a kid that I can remember, I'm just glad they never showed us what was going on in Reed Richards' head. Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's funny. You guys were citing stuff within the books. For me, it was about 2 months in. I saw the advertisement for Superman, Spider-Man.
Okay.
So I guess my timing was pretty good because I know that fans have been waiting forever for a crossover, and I got one like almost right off the bat. I thought, and I didn't know better. I thought, oh man, this is cool. They do this all the time. No, but I didn't know better. And so I can remember it's going to be this big giant, book. And so my brother and I begged and pleaded until our mom went up and got us both one. And I mean, I still have the one that I got in 1976.
Nice.
And it's crushed. Because that was also they were still publishing. Both companies were still publishing Treasuries, and get in here, Doctor.
Link is in the chat up towards the top of the chat if you want to pop in there. But like I said, I got to know you. We know Silver Age. Yeah.
And I sent him an email. So,
okay.
And the DC published the one with the Adams cover, which had the first Ra's al Ghul story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Marvel did one of the treasuries that they came out with in '76 was the greatest superhero battles. With it was the Submariner number 8, Journey 112, Silver Surfer 15, and what was the other one? I always remember 3 out of 4 whenever but I remember the cover was, of course, by the incomparable Gil Kane.
Yes.
But
if it's a comic in the 70s, I feel like it probably had a Gil Kane
cover. Oh, especially in '76, Kirby and Kane did 90% of the covers. But I thought, yes, so those were some really. Oh, and then I saw my brother's Origin of Marvel Comics and Son of Origins, and I thought this stuff is incredible. I mean, I just ate that stuff up, and I thought, my brother, he gave up after about 8 months. He moved on to other things. It's 47 years later, and I'm still as passionate about it as I was as a 13-year-old kid. But I think those things coming out when they did had a lot to do with that.
Oh, yeah. The way you feel about the 70s with that crossover is how I felt when I was 12 and Crisis hit. Isn't that wild? Like, different, same kind of event, just bigger scale, kind of repeat itself.
See, because I'm older than you, I was drunk when that happened. I mean, that was a big deal then for me too. But
if I told you how old I was the first time I started drinking, you'd fall over.
Tim, spent a month in Club Care Unit. No drinking stories will surprise me.
It's 13. But anyway.
Oh, so you were drunk when Crisis came out.
I was drunk when it was over, but I was like, but I realized when I realized it may not have been that good of an idea. When they killed Crisis, I'll just get it out of the way. I was all in. I was loving it, still love it, still, you know what I mean? I still will talk about it. But when they killed off the first Dick Grayson and Huntress, when that wall fell on them in issue 12, all of a sudden I was like, oh no, I don't know about this.
Eric, that superhero battle, I think it was Spider-Man and Silver Surfer was the other.
Yeah, I remember those two because I said Silver Surfer 15, Submariner 8, Journey to Mystery 112. And what's the obvious one that I'm missing?
Daredevil, Captain America.
Thank you. God, I've got that book.
Superhero battle.
8 feet away from me, and I still couldn't remember.
I have learned over the years that when something like this happens, I need to play cool because I end up jumping up and I will dig. Like while I'm doing this, like, wait, I know it. It's killing me. So I've learned to be cool.
That happens every Wednesday for me.
Yeah. Still happens. I do this stuff. We start talking about comics, and all of a sudden, it's like I turn into like an 8-year-old. I feel like sometimes, which is cool, man. It's cool that something can still do that. I think
that's why we're still here.
Yeah. So years ago, I talked to Scott Shaw, if you know who that is, right? And I'm trying to think if it was Comic Hoarder. I don't know if you know these names. Well, Steve, it was either Charlton 66 or it was a guy named Comic Hoarder, but they'd sent me their Captain the Carrot and Amazing Zoo Crew #1, right? And I was going to get Scott Shaw to sign that one in mine and have a little chat with him if I could. Well, Scott Shaw was real interesting because what he does is he holds your book hostage. Yeah, I'll sign this, and then he'll get ready to sign it. Then he'll hold it in front of you like this. And then he'll start talking and asking you questions. He holds your book hostage. He knows exactly what he's doing. So he told me about this story about like in the early 70s, he and 4 or 5 of his friends lived in it. He's an old California hippie is basically what Scott Shaw is, right? So a bunch of them went over to Kirby's place, and Kirby was a little bit aggravated with him because he had a deadline and he was trying to finish up a book, but he still had him come out to the grill. Roz still cooked for him and all this stuff. And then he got, I can't remember if he said it was New Gods or Forgotten People, but he got the book 2 or 3 months later, and Kirby had put him and his buddies in the book as a band and then killed them on the same page. And he was like, ha, ha, ha. Then he asked me the question. He was like, when did you get into comics? And apparently I wasn't giving him the right answer because he still kept floating the book in front of me. And he talked about in the 50s how he was in the hospital as a kid, and everybody he talks to seems to discover comic books in the hospital by the people he asked. Yet when I meet people on YouTube, I've met a few people like that, but we all sort of fell into it the right way. Somebody else had it, you know.
I was just reading how MASH was
appointment television
on TV.
In 2022.
Me TV is awesome.
I'll spoil it. I bet Hawkeye tells a joke. So there, I just spoiled it.
What is so funny is my mom actually told the story. She went into labor, but she wanted to finish MASH before she went into the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
Apparently it was big. This show must have put, you know.
I'm
the guy that was glad MASH was over, and I was also glad when they did Little House on the Prairie, they blew up the whole town with dynamite. I was so happy. I was that guy.
You just had to see what Klinger was wearing back then, I guess.
Oh man, I was like, Klinger killed me, man. We're going to end up talking about classic TV if you don't watch, but Klinger killed me. I tried to watch MASH, and that was just a grown-up show. It was when I was in my early 20s, and the library had it on VHS that I started really enjoying MASH. I was like, well, it's happened, you know. I was like,
I'm guessing he enjoyed the last 3 years of the show because they let him wear guys' clothes.
Yeah,
they got past that,
and he really does trying to take over from Radar.
Yeah,
Radar jumped his shit. Said, "Get with it, dude." You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved when Radar went off on people. You know, because we all got to respect the guy that held his teddy bear. You know.
Well, his first 3 seasons were hysterical. And then when Alan Alda got more creative control, he kind of steered it into more like a dramedy.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, those first 3 seasons were just up until the last episode, and then maybe the saddest moment in television history.
You think when you're talking about the plane when he went off in the helicopter and
when Radar comes into the operating room and tells him about Henry's crash.
Yeah.
That was.
Well, the opposite of that, what one of the funniest moments I thought they had was when Alan Alda was Hawkeye was trying to prove the point that nothing ever happens and it's boring and all this stuff, and he decides to walk to breakfast naked, and he almost gets by with it. He's going to spend the day. He was wearing nothing but his combat boots. I thought that was hilarious.
I think one time Radar is holding a comic, and it was the Avengers where Yellow Jacket marries the Wasp. And I'm thinking they probably just thought any old comic will do. No one's going to notice. But of course, I know they didn't have that back in the 50s. But
20 years, what do you call that stuff? A mulligan? Is that what they call those? When there's something anyway, there's a word for that when they mess up like that. And that's an interesting fact. You asked about when you're a collector and stuff. There was nothing like being a kid and watching movies like Explorers or can't think of some other movies, but you'd be watching a TV show or a movie and they'd be panning a kid's room, and you're like trying to identify the comic books they got laying on a desk or the poster they had behind them.
Yeah.
So when things went kind of mainstream a little bit with comic books and stuff, I thought that was really surreal, big time. When people started talking about them on TV shows. And I think Quentin Tarantino had a lot to do with that in the 90s. He came in on I can't remember what it was. It was a bunch of Russians on a submarine. And he came in and to fix the dialogue, and he didn't really fix the dialogue, but he added a scene where 2 people were talking about, I think, Silver Surfer and the Thing or something. And I was like, what's going on? Then I watched Reservoir Dogs, and this guy's telling the story, and he's comparing the main bad guy to like the Thing. He said he's got a head like the Thing and stuff.
Were you talking about Crimson Tide?
Yeah.
That was the subject. 2 guys were getting in a fight. Who's the better Silver Surfer artist, Kirby or Buscema?
Yeah. I saw that in the theater. I haven't watched it since, but I was just sitting there in a whole different world for those few minutes. I was like, what's going on here? It was like surreal. I was really feeling like I was like, there's a camera. This is a joke.
When that happens, I get it. And then I look around and I realize, well, my wife probably doesn't know what they're talking about, but it's like it was an inside joke just for a certain breed of us,
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm trying to steer this towards, man. There's a certain kind of breed where, you know the language, you know how you pick up, you figured out the rules in these comics and talking, and you end up having these conversations with your friends, and you can tell who's read the comics and who don't because there's no explanation. It's like I'm not exaggerating. It's almost like the conversation is already written, and you two are just like picking up on stuff. You know, I don't know how you get there. Just some reading comics.
Can you throw the link up again?
Yeah.
So you don't have to scroll down or up, down.
Was it Englentine?
Yeah.
All right, there it is, brother. Oh man. And actually, when Englentine comes on, I apologize. I got to call my wife. I think something's happened. So she probably needs a little money. There we go.
Uh-oh.
And now we have Englentine joining us on this rainy Sunday night. What's up, brother?
Oh, I just got back from the con, and boy, are my legs tired.
Which con did you go to?
MegaCon.
Right now, as we speak, they're doing the George Perez Memoriam on Facebook.
Yeah, I went there for a little bit. There was a long line, and I was beat. I wanted to go. I did hit they had a little bit of a wake of some sorts a couple of days ago. I'm sure I saw a guy or two filming, so I'm sure it's somewhere on YouTube. I introduced myself as Englentine from I Love Comics. I actually have told people in the public, like what's your name? Englentine, Aaron. Yeah, I actually, like, if I go to the banker stuff, I have to stop myself from doing that. But I did get to say my piece. It's just I was bushed, and it was just way too long of a line to stand there with two big freaking heavy ass bags filled with books and comics and such that I bought mostly for the auction. So
nice.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I'd get recognized every here and there as Howler Mouse, and it usually backfired. It'd be some guy selling books at the flea market or a little con, and they would warn people about me because in my videos I would show comics I bought for $0.25 or $1. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But the greatest one, and this is YouTube fame back in the day, right? This is how I look at it, right? And I probably, if you've heard this, just stop me. But I was at Heroes Con, second day, probably had an hour before I left, and I'm just like going through a box, and I turn around, there's these two kids, probably about 20 years old, just staring at me. And I'm like, yeah, they're looking at me. And I'm like, I figure, okay, maybe they recognize me from the YouTube channel. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? Y'all enjoying the con? And they're like, are you Howler Mouse? And I'm like, well, yes, I am. The one guy turns to the other guy and goes, he's so short. Like it was cooler that I'm like this little short guy, you know. He's so short. Yeah.
Wow, you really are fat and ugly.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like, yep, that's the name right there. Yeah.
I had a guy today. Yesterday there were a couple, but one guy goes, "You have a YouTube channel, don't you?" It's like, okay, yeah. He says, "You said you have a YouTube channel." Well, not in the last 5 minutes, because it's not like I was talking to this guy or even around this guy. Come to find out, he was at the memorial, and he's like, "I know you. You're Englentine. All right." And then, I just thought that was kind of weird that I was recognized from the memorial over. I've done 1,000 videos. Go figure. But the thing is when everybody went up, because what it was if you met George Perez, if you had a story to share, go up and share the story. And people went up, and basically they acted like they were in a wake, which I guess this was. It was just, I met George, and it was really, and they would talk about these great times they had with George Perez. But they all said, and I went up there and I told my story, but I tell a story, I'm not there to make people sad. I was there to tell you, hey, look, I met this guy and it was freaking awesome. So there was a huge difference in tone between everybody else and then when I go up. But go figure. I just don't see a reason, my relationship with George Perez, aside from the fact that there will not be new material, has not changed. I know that's kind of a grim way to put it and look at things, but in all honesty, I was a reader of George Perez. I was a fan of George Perez, a big fan.
Well, I'll kind of counter that a little bit. Here's what I'm hoping. I've already thought about this because, like,
he's not coming back.
It's no exaggeration. I've been preparing for George Perez to pass away for a while. I've even talked about how ridiculous it is considered I'm not friends or family. I don't know what it is, right? I actually feel like I mourned before. So here's what I'm hoping for. You got things like the Kirby Collector. Okay. You got things like the Kirby estate released material that Kirby did that nobody ever saw before, right? I'm kind of hoping that as long as George Perez is around, as big of a workhorse as he was, and it wasn't work to him, he always wanted more thrown at him. I'm hoping we end up something like that down the line. Maybe there's
something in the vault. Yeah. But point being is, as I said, as a fan, our relationship really hasn't changed, and hopefully that's the part that hasn't changed as well. We're going to get some new stuff as well.
Yeah.
But
what gets me is I'm going to go to Heroes Con next month. You went to MegaCon. Did you talk to any creators or anything?
Jim Shooter.
That's awesome.
I talked to Jim Shooter, Emma Kubert. I talked to Tom King, and anybody else I talked to? And then a couple of actors and such like that. Yeah.
Oh, the Silver Age out. Okay. Well, here's my thing. I've decided I am going to and I've actually got one of the books here. I'm going to try to get signed. I decided I am going to Heroes Con this year, right? Because Mike Grell's going to be there. They've got a ton of new people coming, right? Yeah. And what I'm realizing is Neil, and I've said this before, but it's really hitting now. We're getting the big names and stuff. Neil Adams, George Perez, everybody passing away.
Yeah.
I don't think we realize how many of these creators are in their 70s. Jim Shooter is getting up there, and I always thought he might have had a little drinking problem in the past because of the discoloration on his nose or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I met him one time. He had a handler that got in between he and I, though. So it wasn't a great conversation, but there's nobody really coming up in today's comics that are going to replace these guys. You know what I'm saying?
No, there's nobody.
Vacuum, a legacy. We're not getting that. So if you want to see him, I think you need to see him.
There's a few people I could say are good, but I don't see them being the same way. What's that dude who did the Justice League, Eric? It starts with a J. Or maybe I'm just thinking Justice League.
Are we talking artist or writer?
Yeah, artist. The artist guy. That he's big dude. We actually talked about him during our Superman video too. But he's a modern guy. I can't think of his name because I can't really think right now.
Yeah.
I'm serious. So the beginning of the day, I'm showing up a little bit late. I say, okay, I'm going to park on property. Maybe it'll be a shorter walk. No, I pull in, they put us into a freaking field, like across the street. So I get one of those petty cabs, blow $20 because I look at it and go, my knees. I'm not doing this.
Hey, Englentine, I'm going to leave you here to tell the story. Y'all talk about whatever. I got to check on the wife, man. Be right back.
So yeah, I get the petty cab going and I'm thinking, sure. Okay. I'll pick up the petty cab on the way back too. And so, if I could find a good deal, I picked it up, knowing even though I've got these two bags, there's somebody to give me a ride. Oh no, there was not. There was not. So everybody's at the front. I'm at the back here. So I'm like, okay, where did we park? They parked us over here. So let me walk. And I know I'm all the way at the back. So let me walk all the way to the back at this Disneyland looking parking lot where it's half a mile to get to the end of it. So I walk to the end of, where the hell's my car? And I turn and I look, and all the way on the other side of the freaking parking lot is the field they parked us in. And I just so happened to be at the far end of that parking. So I was done. I was so freaking done. But it was a good day. It was a good day. Let's see. Tomorrow's publications would be perfect for producing a Perez or Adams magazine. I think that should be. Why not a Howler Mouse production? Let's get him into it. I guess I don't know. Or is that his bid? Is that his business? How you doing, Graphic Man? Oh, you're like chilling, man.
I was on mute there, buddy. I'm doing swell, man.
Yeah. Oh, you got some good books behind you. What's up?
You know who's not doing swell?
Who's not doing swell? Red Sox.
There's a major right now. The PGA. Mm-hmm. Guy goes in the last hole, one stroke up on two guys. There's a playoff going on now. Guess who's not in it? The Red guy Sox? With the one stroke lead, the double bogey, the last hole. And this poor guy, this lady is interviewing him while the two guys that jumped him are playing the playoff. thinking,
ouch.
That is just cold.
That is not good.
It's like, how does it feel to be a complete loser?
You snatched
what do you, I mean, seriously, I mean, I have the sound off, but what do you say to a guy? And how much is he just wanting to say, would you like me to take that microphone and put it somewhere where it might take a while to get back out?
You just snagged victory from the jaws,
Oh my God.
The defeat from the jaws of victory. What do you think?
that there can't be anything worse to blow a major. I mean, because you win a major now, that's 7 figures automatic.
Okay.
Well, I'd guess the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's got to be right up there because he was leading basically all weekend and blows it on 72nd hole.
That is a really cool. My bird has decided to go freaking bonkers right now, and I just realized I've got the coloration like the movie version of Twilight Zone. I'm about to send people to the field. I've got this very Bond-looking lighting going on. So who do we have? We have Surly Tim. What's up? Is it a large audience today, or are we just
no? We're just friends and family at the moment.
Friends and family. All right.
It's a real good thing you did there. It's
what?
Real good. You said you were wishing people into the cornfield, so I just started doing.
That I got rid of everybody. Yeah, that might be it. So tonight I think for the Sunday show, I'll just do another unboxing and we can talk about stuff like that.
Yeah, I may have to miss that one. I am coughing like a fiend right now.
Okay.
Actually, the only time now I think I'm getting the only time I'm not coughing is when I'm smoking. So I have no desire to chain smoke. So it's one of those oddities.
I could do the. I could show some of the stuff off. I got a few trade paperbacks and I got some good books. I had to put some down for a little bit for $25. I had in my hand a whole pile of good books. This guy was having a 50% off sale. And I had the first appearance of Kiss in my hand. It would have ended up being only $25, but I was doing the math. Like, no freaking way I could have done this all over the place.
Was it the Howard? Are we circling back to Howard the Duck now?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know we were talking about him before to circle back. Or are we just missing Jin Saki?
No, I mentioned. I said this was.
Oh, okay.
So it'd come up.
Hold on.
Tomorrow's publication. I bet something will come out from them. So.
Bird.
I had the John Buscema special issue that they did when he passed away. So
I will be right back.
Nice. We all have lives. It's you and me, graphic man.
That's it. We'll proceed bravely.
Do you ever hit any cons or anything up there?
Well, I live in Southwest Missouri, so I would go to the Kansas City had one. And it was
the last booth I hit was a guy selling 50-cent books. So I picked up a whole bunch so I could use them as dollar books in the auction. Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. Hey, graphic man, I was in Fort Leonard Wood in the 90s.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I was in Fort Leonard Wood in the 90s. St. Louis and Fort Leonard Wood.
Yeah, the big name we had up there was Don Rosa. And,
nice.
That was great for me, but.
Oy vey. Oh, and I got these trade paperback. Oh, my hat. It's too damn hot to wear a hat. It's too damn hot.
Oh, that's right. Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean that's right? It's like freaking June almost. It should be too damn hot everywhere, right?
It's beautiful up here. It's manageable. We're getting July. July appears when you just want to die.
I will say, Englentine, I have governor envy.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Where are you at?
I'm Missouri, which is, but your guy's a superstar.
Oh, freaking hell yeah. People I hear all the time. You want him to run for president? No. No, because
I think we need at least one state that's still a
free
safety. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I got the Impossible Man trade paperback. This thing is pretty cool. Reprints Fantastic Four 176, Marvel 2 and 160, Spider-Woman 45, X-Men Annual 7, New Mutants Annual 3, Silver Surfer 33, the 1987, and the Summer Vacation 1 and 2. Fantastic Four number 11, and Marvel 2 and 186. So
yeah, I'm wondering if 176 is that issue of Fantastic Four where the Impossible Man had tricked Galactus Inc. to pop up, and we thought he died of like universe. I don't know what was it. It was indigestion, but it was like cosmic indigestion. Yeah, I got that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I've had this one in the auction before. I forgot to shut the door. My bird's about to get out. I don't care. I found this. This is something I've been looking for. The Jay Lee Inhumans.
Yeah.
Which I am a big fan of the Inhumans. I figured, you know what? We've been talking about this, Eric, so much. We might as well share the wealth. So I found this and was pretty happy. Anytime I find one of these, I think it's a good day.
Okay.
Yeah. Heroes Con's going to have Bob Hall. I'm going to get him to sign mine. Yeah. I'm going to wear my Shadow Man shirt when I meet him. I met him up at Baltimore Con. Real nice guy.
And the Howard
the Duck.
And this has got basically the first 16 issues, his first appearance, Marvel Treasury, Giant Size Man Thing 4 and 5. A lot of stuff there. Those are the trades I picked up for the auction.
Is the Howard the Duck an Epic collection, so it's in color? I almost picked up one that was black and white.
Looks exactly no, it is in color, but it doesn't say Epic anywhere.
Yeah, the part of Marvel like that has the monsters and the oddball characters for a while, like the Tigra, Howard the Duck, Werewolf by Night, Tomb of Dracula, Monster Frankenstein, Man Thing. Same format, but not called Epic collections.
I won't bore you guys with dollar books. I know you're beyond that kind of stuff, but I was happy to get
this. We're not.
50 cents.
My bread and butter. This whole channel was built on the cheap stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is I managed to get me this. It's not me. This is all in the and then I got a nice collection of Young Justice. Okay, I'll just show them off. I mean, if y'all don't mind.
It's interesting you got Young Justice because I'm currently trying to give that a second chance. That's the one Peter David. That's one of the few Peter David books I just couldn't get into.
Number 18. When I saw this, like I said, the guy was selling them 50 cents. I was walking out. I was ready to go. And then I saw that he just wanted to get rid of books. So everything was 50 cents or you could buy a box for $50.
I think you pronounce it Knock. Todd Knock did it, and he just has a style that he's talented. I mean, it's not a knock; it's a personal thing where I just can't get into his artwork.
He's better suited for kids' books.
There we go. Yeah, now the Lightning Saga, that very issue you have of the Power Girl bust on that one, it's not worth a lot of money, but it's actually hard to find because it's
pretty sure because of Mike Turner. Well, maybe I could bump that up to 2 or 3.
I don't know. I don't understand what people buy nowadays. Yeah,
the secret files they tend to go in the auction. Here we have Secret Origin Superman. I like this because it looked like they drew a young Marlon Brando as the father.
Well, yeah.
They drew him to look like Christopher Reeve. Also.
Yeah, so Gary say Christopher. Yeah, Gary Frank goes for that in a lot of his books.
Number 26. The Forever People will forever be in that cover position.
Yeah.
Oh,
what can we got young? Yeah, go ahead, Breen.
Oh, Tim, I know this. I know it was a slip, but when you were mentioning the Forever People, you called them the Forgotten People. And I thought how appropriate that actually was.
The trademark copyright Forgotten People, Tim Mullins. I'm going to do something with that.
There you go.
I heard him, but I didn't even notice.
But I actually I feel good about. I think these Young Justices will go. I think we've got the proper crowd for Young Justice.
I was going to say I will tout the heck out of them for you, but then remember that doesn't work.
Yeah, so for some reason
I'll denigrate them for you.
When they got a Teen Lobo in there, I was out. I couldn't help it. I was like, I couldn't. The Teen Lobo killed me. And it's also Englentine, not Englentine, like I always say. I'm
Englentine, yeah. Oh, everybody calls me Englentine for a while until it's.
Oh, that's where it came from. Other people calling you that.
Yeah.
His little YouTube brother can't pronounce his name.
Yep. I just think this looks cool.
I tried to read it
recently.
I don't know. I think the timing of when that came out, that should have been huge with
Brian Azzarello. These black covers. Oh my gosh, man. Another book that I almost picked up for 15 was because I haven't seen one in 30 years, was the Solar Man of the Atom, the black cover.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen one of those in freaking forever.
I've seen one, and it was beat up, and they were still trying to sell it for 15.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't overspend this time. But holy hell, I do like now. I'm like, man, I should have picked this up. I should have picked that up because it's just.
I was at a flea market last year, and the flea market is twice a year, so it was back in September. And I'm excited about going the first weekend of June, because the very last booth I hit was just this old man sitting there on the side of a hill, and he had these comics out, and it was a bunch of Valiant stuff. And I didn't realize that what he had was the actual Harbinger #0 that you had to order through coupons, two of them $1 a piece.
The Iron Man is pretty much printing money at my
really?
Yeah. Sometimes people want it for themselves, and there's a joke that goes around. You buy the Iron Man to send to Maranya, and some people actually take that to heart because she's a big Iron Man fan. I was actually, if that Iron Man number 100 didn't sell, I was just going to send it to her. I was okay. Might as well, because she helps out a hell of a lot. So does Eric.
Yeah, you can do without one of us, and it ain't Maranya.
In all honesty, I prefer you there, man.
Fact.
I prefer you there. Somebody asked me, by the way, like, because I've always had guest stars. I don't usually go solo live. And so somebody asked if I did credits, how would you bill everybody? And I thought, first of all, that's a horrible question to ask somebody. Because it's basically rank your friends. Yeah. So I figured, no. I would have to take it as who appears more. Because when I said it, they took, wow, okay. Because when they replied, it was almost like I was ranking friends. But then I said, no, I would do it like actually crediting, because it's always who's there the most and second far. So.
See, I always go back in the day with the YouTube comic community and stuff, but around 2016 and 17, the bigger channels that were around then, the ones that were there sort of from the beginning and everything like that, we actually had to go underground. We had one or two people that were just, and before it was a buzzword, they were actually toxic. So the comic book community actually existed, not on YouTube, but we all were in these private chats that went on for hours. And man, if you could have seen the round table that was in these things, you could get 10 to 15 people, I think, at the time in a Google Hangout. And you talk about what was considered a star-studded cast back then. Some of the best stuff was in those private rooms. But we would let people who would view come in every now and then and stuff too, to keep it going. That actually kept YouTube going for about 6 months.
It's how I refreshed.
Yeah.
But no, I figured by that casting, it's sad that Maranya wouldn't be higher up on the list.
Well, you'd have to do it like on TV shows and starring.
And because she's like, because she's there all the time and she's active in the chat and she's active in helping out. She's the moderator, so it would be, and also boom.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm going to interrupt for a minute because the people who watch my stuff are not going to have a clue who Maranya is. Does she have her own channel, or you want to talk a little bit, fill them in who she is?
Actually, Maranya's been watching my channel for all 6 years. She's just one of those people, and she's always been there. She's always been helpful with advice and everything, and she's just been just someone who has been always very kind. And I started noticing that she started doing things like if I didn't say it, if we were having a live stream in the chat, she would put, "Welcome to I Love Comics starring Englentine featuring guests, blah, blah, blah." And she would put it on in there. And
go ahead.
Yeah, $35 for the omnibus. That'd be awesome. But yeah, she's just, and she became very important to the channel. And actually and I'm very happy to say this, we're friends. We're not internet friends. And that goes with Eric and Venkman and so forth. So forth is my and the rest from Gilligan's Island.
See, back in the day when this stuff first started, seriously, there's probably like 25 channels and then like 75 regular viewers, and we all knew each other. That's how small it used to be. So what you're talking about is that feel that this place used to have. So that's awesome.
Well, as far as credits, you're gonna have to address that at some point, because that's become an issue at the Geeky Puppet Show.
Oh, really?
Because you had two of us and friends, and now before we start, because it's Puppet Team and friends, and now before we do one of the guys just unloads on him oh, wait a minute, that's me. That's become a running gag on his channel.
Well, you know what? You got Graphic Man right beside of you. This guy's able to do credits in a cast. Just saying. Yeah.
No, Pixel says, but what if you're not on one? I go, hey, you watch a TV show back when they used to like send starring and do the cast?
Yeah.
They weren't in every episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I think Pixel's just, a little full of himself.
I would put
all of it for himself.
I would put Venkman as the second, because Eric doesn't want it.
If some or other, I will not. If nominated, I will not accept. If I win, I will not serve. Or how's that go?
Yeah, but
we got you. No.
Yeah, but that's basically it. Because I said, hey, look, guys, on the day, if something happens and it's a day we usually stream, do you want to? I never even asked Eric because I know the answer. He doesn't want that responsibility.
Well, for one thing, if something were to go wrong, I can't fix it. Venkman knows how to do some of that stuff. So I said, there's that too. And
I think my favorite quote is that Groucho one that I want to butcher is like, I would never be a member of a club that would have me as a member.
Yeah.
I don't want to join a club that would have me as a member is the quote. Yeah. Oh, I got this for 50 cents.
Uh-oh.
I'm very happy. I got it for cover price, kids.
Well, that's well spent.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm trying to get down to on the very bottom are all the ones that cost $1 or $2. But I
feel like I want to run into some super goof soon. I can feel it.
Not today. Not today.
Not with you.
Although this is nothing I am against. By the way. I love me some Disney books. Let me get through these 50 centers, and basically I just look for, is there anything here that might be able to turn into $1? But it's really nice. It's really nice to have a community where you could just show up and
the Teenage Lobo is, if it ever comes back, it's going to have the hate that's equal to or greater than my love of Booster Gold. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is a Teenage Lobo, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is not in the greatest of condition, but I was like, holy crap! Anything with that Captain America.
There is a niche group who love that stuff.
Yeah,
that is that era of the Image Marvel books there that were Heroes Reborn or whatever it was.
I'm almost done with the dollar books here.
That book is actually better than it should have been. It's
I like it too.
Yeah.
Hey, Jackson Raker, what's up? Anytime I could pick up some inexpensive All-Star as well. I love that book. I know it's not worth much, but who freaking cares? It's good.
Oh man, the problem with All-Stars, you try to read it from beginning to end, it's going to take years because Roy Thomas was wordy on it, and I have them all and love them all. Yeah.
Wonder Man for some reason has an audience. I got these at another booth for a little less than $2 a shot. Don't tell that to anybody, Eric, because I got to make them think they're valuable and worth anything they want to pay. All right, here you go. Okay. Also, I noticed that DC from the 70s and early 80s are just popular as hell right now from at my end of the.
Well, what you just held up there is a 3-part Secret Society of Supervillain story, More Than the Heroes, drawn by George Perez. It's one of his first works.
Hey, boy, what's up?
What was the last thing you showed that you said
Justice League 196.
Ah, yeah.
Ultra Human Knight, and yeah.
And then I have issue number 197 as well.
Nice.
Yeah. It's where the heroes wake up and they're all pissed off, but it's still about the villains. That's why it's such a great story.
Annual number 3.
Yeah, because that's a crisis book, there are people that will pay for that, even though it doesn't reflect in any guides.
Here is 207.
That's the ones I was telling you guys that where I realized I was a collector. We talked about that earlier tonight.
It's it's flat. It's not rolled. You know how that happens sometimes.
And don't miss the retrospective we did on that.
Anytime I can get New Teen Titans, I will get New Teen Titans. I don't care if it sells. At some point in time, by the way, my comic shop just got a DC Comics Presents and a Deathstroke. They were 100 each, so I put them on layaway.
You talking about Teen Titans number 2?
Yeah.
I'm never going to get that book. That's go ahead. Yeah.
Like you hate it, or it's just
no. That's a thing on my channel. People started pointing out how much I pine for that book. And I can,
there you go. And yeah, that one I saw this and I was like, yay! I love the Tales of the Green Lantern back in the day.
That's got the Alan Moore story in it.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Howard, Surly Tim in the chat is introducing his 3-year-old to Supergroove.
Oh, nice.
And I was commending him for that.
Oh, that's always That's good parenting.
Yeah, that was like one of my favorite books as a kid in the late 70s, man. I grabbed every one I could see in those little 3-packs you could get back then.
The Whitmans, the Whitman, yeah, I remember those. That's the real Whitman sampler, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went back for this run of books from this guy. He was willing to make deals just so he didn't have to carry books home. And
I never, ever thought those Iron Man books would ever, be popping up 30 years later.
Yeah, go figure. And got I ended up getting the entire second Armor Wars story. So, yay! I got a set. That's at least good.
Well, those Iron Man are great. I thought the art at the time, getting them off the newsstand, was a little sloppy,
jarring.
But the stories were great, and the art will grow on you, surprisingly. So
I think John Byrne was writing that with Ramita. I'm not sure.
I don't know where I got this. I don't think I got this. I think this might be where did I get this one from? I don't know. I forgot how much I'm paying. Oh, yeah, I don't know how much I paid for these.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Well, it's the True Believers.
Oh. Okay, when you held it up, that was blocked by the top of the screen.
I'm not going to lie. I was wondering where that whoa was coming from.
Just saw the barcode.
It took a minute.
Well, it was like,
the barcode
it was like, whoa. Oh.
Yeah.
Still,
still good show. Good book. Good book.
He's saying that book's in great shape.
I think that's.
I know where I got these from. I don't, like I said, I'm almost happy that you guys don't have it like a lot of our people, because I don't want them to know how little I paid for.
The She-Hulk you showed, Steve Gerber brought back Howard the Duck, and I'm like 17, 18 years old thinking like these books are going to be worth a fortune. Gerber's back on Howard the Duck. None of my friends knew who Howard the Duck was. I was like, didn't want to explain it.
What is the coolest ones of these? Because these are just too cool. Fortunately, every one of these have a subscription fold, and that sucks. It brings, I know it brings down the value, but when I saw these for the price that I paid for them, I was like, give them to me. It's just, these are my books, because I'm a huge, huge fan. But here's Adventure Comics 341.
Nice.
That's a good book.
Nice.
$2.
Oh.
$2.
Colossus with his cowboy gauntlets.
Hey, remember when Saturn Girl and Lightning Lad got married? Once again, has the fold, but $2. I was very happy about that. So yeah, I got the death of Triplicate Girl and the creation of Duo Damsel. I believe this might be second appearance, but I really am looking for the first for cheap. But this is with the Legion of Supervillains.
You know, Eric will give you $250 each for those.
Those
I'm
are
sure he will.
fantastic.
How bad is the fold? Like if you saw them in real life? I mean, is there any color breaks or just a fold?
I think one of them did. That like this one's just the fold. I mean, like I could feel it.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there was a color break on the Colossus. Yeah, you look right in the middle there.
I got you. Yeah, when it comes to those folds, the color break is the only thing that really kills me if I run across a deal like that.
But come on.
Yeah.
Remember that $2 thing? Ta-da! I dig on the Marvel Tales. Yeah. More.
That's a square bound, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the older ones.
I think I got that one.
So these is some good books, I have to say.
What? Hold on. Wait a minute. What issue is that there?
It's issue number 382.
Hold on a minute. I just realized something. Let me just for a second here. I want to put you on. Show that book.
Wow, that's the second book in the Supergirl series.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Is that a tear or can I fold it? No, that's a tear, unfortunately. I just noticed that right in the corner. I got a guy who really loves Superman. And so I picked up a couple of the John Burns and all that we normally don't have. But I picked up this one because I know he'll go after. Oh, I forgot a $2 book that I forgot to show. I am sorry, guys. Please forgive. $2.
Wow.
Putting you back on Solo.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, the edge is, as you can see, a little torn. But come on, gang.
I'm gonna. My response to that has 2 words. The second one is cares. The first one is who.
Yeah, no. This was I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh. And I looked at the side and went, just like that. I don't care. That's coming home with me.
Now, did you get any of these for yourself?
I picked up a book for myself, I think, but I spent for the auction only. Okay, now this is the first appearance of some Star Wars character right here. I don't know his name. I actually did a comic book origin story on it. I would have to look it up, but he's going to be in a movie, so everybody's going freaking nutso. I saw it, and I took it up to the guy. It's at the very, this guy's getting ready to close. And he goes, he says, that'll be $7. Okay, I put my card out, and he goes, there's a $20 limit. You just take it. I was very happy about that.
For the people that don't go to cons, and there's very few that watch this channel that don't, if you catch them at the end of the day, they don't want to carry the boxes home. So,
oh my gosh,
be
sorry,
coy.
boy. Sorry. If I didn't spend as much money as I did the last or one of the last one, what was the one before I went to the dollar book guy, the 50-cent book guy, was the trade paperback, and he says, if you want 100, it was 150, fill a short box, go. And I was like, if only if you caught me like even 15 minutes, 20 minutes ago, I would have done that.
Yeah. What works for me is I'll have like a $5 bill, and I'll wait till a little bit after in the afternoon, eyeballing something, and I'll just go up and be like, you want my last 5 or you want my last 10? And I just, and I'll get it $20 book for $5 sometimes.
And then a half hour later, after Tim's done that to 7 or 8 guys, are all standing there like a O-line in football, waiting for him.
That just happened one time, sir. One time.
I got issue 215, I think this is. Funny enough, I managed to sell the sequel.
I'll go ahead and tell you that's a weird story if you haven't read it.
I did, but a long, long time ago. And here's issue number 214. And here is 210. And 211.
I'm wondering if you've got the Thunderbolt story coming up in there. Black Canary Thunderbolt.
So. Oh no, that actually sold yesterday. And
All
then we have 210, I think. Was that? No, yeah, 213. Sometimes I target certain people, and oh wait, this is a $10. This one was going to be probably $10 at the auction here, but it's a Vampirella Strikes. What is the name? Adam Hughes cover.
Yeah.
I am absolutely targeting Venkman with this one. Yeah. The price on the tags, by the way, are not the price I paid. But this one right here is freaking gorgeous. So, oh my gosh, this isn't what a beautiful bag, and you put this freaking Post-it thing on. Okay, here we go. But I got this one because, in all honesty, I've only seen them in quarter books. Look at this. I know it's just a 90s book, but
Thunderstrike 1?
Yeah, it's Thunderstrike #1.
Ron, I just realized Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends are going to be at HeroesCon this year.
Look at that thing. I looked at this. I said, it looks better than when it came off the freaking shelf. So I picked it up just because for shits and giggles, and hope somebody will buy it. And then I picked up a run of Peter David's She-Hulk because you know what? She-Hulk is really hot right now.
Yeah,
Aaron, I know you're looking for your auction, but do they have anything like that at this con? Because
one guy did, but not in that condition, dude.
I would be going for stuff like this.
Yeah,
but
there's a antique shop around here where a guy's got a booth with a lot of that stuff, and he's got those books from the 30s and 40s, those little pocket books, hardcover little pocket books you guys been showing and stuff, and they're just all in horrible condition. I almost sent you guys a picture, man.
The booth I got some of my books at had they were the expensive books. I was like, well, that's weird. He's got because he would have these are 2, these are 3, those are 4, these are 5, so forth and so on. And it seemed as expensive books, none of them had bags on them. So I went through them, and there were all these Dell and Gold Key and so forth. So at first I was like, oh, wow. Okay, now we're talking. And I was like, wow, when you bring the rest of them, then maybe, bring me the rest of this comic book and maybe I'll buy it. I keep waiting for the bird to fly over to Graphic Man's shoulder. This is Twiddles, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted a dog. My family got a bird. I did not name him, but because I'm home all the time, he kind of bonded with me. So there you go. I know he's loud, and if it does bother you guys in the chat, please let me know. I probably won't do anything about it. Like I said, I've got a friend who is into Superman, so just looking for the books that we never had, and I've never seen a 750. And I've never seen that cover before. It is gorgeous. I love that cover.
I tell you, Superman in the 90s was a hard time for that book.
What?
Yeah.
What? No, Superman in the 90s is awesome.
Even his hair?
Superman red and blue, brother. That's all I'm saying. I was there.
Superman red and blue, I give to you, but that was towards the end.
And then they brought Scott McDaniel on, the guy who draws black. Superman's all bright. There we go.
All right, we got some sensational She-Hulk. I bought this because I literally have Machine Man, I think 1 through 10, sitting waiting for the rest, waiting for this issue. So that's literally the only reason I bought this today.
I think I need 1 or 2 issues to have that complete run. Yeah.
Same here.
Once again, because I've got a guy looking for Superman. This is a sought after issue.
Well, this was it Superman 9 that John Byrne did. That's the front of that cover, even though that's Clark Kent as Joker.
Yeah. Managed to, like I said, get a few Peter David She-Hulks this time around. And this is a variant of She-Hulk. This is number 32. So
I think what now that you're showing those, you got me thinking. somewhere in the 280s was the first time She-Hulk popped up in the Hulk. And I was 10 years old.
282.
I remember 282. So I'm expecting that one to pop if it hasn't already.
Oh, it has.
Has it?
The tune of $80.
It popped right after I sold my copy. Okay, so how should I present these? First, let me get the expensive ones, and then the one I bought for myself because I was surprised to find it. This was popular last night at the auction, so I picked another one up. Go figure. I said, okay, fine. If I don't sell it next week, I'll sell it the week after that.
I hope you do sell it, because I found 4 issues for like 50. I found the first 4 issues for 50 cents a piece and tried to read them. I can't say they're horrible, but it's different. That's all I'm saying. Just different.
While we're graphic, yes, 9 o'clock. Yeah, right after I said, "Oh, I probably could do a live stream, some coffee." Hey, I'm going to read one. Yeah, that's great. I have no discipline.
I got this, and I'm afraid that it might not be as popular or as valuable as I think it is. But yeah, I was thinking about $15 to $20 on it.
Boy, she sure looks better breaking a iron bar than Tony did in Iron Man 100.
I know, right? But yeah, this one's really picked up recently. It really has, and so I bought it. Fingers crossed that people will pay the premium.
Right on.
Now, I sold one of these yesterday, and then I go back and I see they've got both of them. So I don't know if I can put them up, if I'll put them up this auction or the next, but I'm going to put them up as a set next time, because I got both of them. Yeah. These are
man, cool. I have not seen those even for sale in forever. Yeah.
So the last few have been $20 to $30 books. Another Superman I got for the guy is a mint condition 775, which I love this freaking story.
And that's the first print, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's not, I've got some heads to crack.
You'd see it. It's got like a red number or something on it. But yeah, that's a fantastic story. Now, hey, Breen, you ought to go black and white and get a fedora and go off film noir with your camera if you want to keep smoking. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
you can set a mood.
I sold my copy of this comic a little bit ago. I'm a big fan of collecting the female superheroes' first appearances and everything. And I sold the last one for $90 and just picked up the first appearance of Vixen in mint condition. This actually looks in better condition than the copy I had. $15.
Wow.
$15 freaking dollars for the first appearance of Vixen. I know, right?
What is this?
No, Englentine did not. Englentine found a shit ton of Night Force #1, but not.
Wait a minute. Is that something you're really trying to track down?
Yeah. He's putting together a collection, so I try to find Night Force 2 through 5.
I'll keep you in mind. Those are literally dime a dozen around here with
really?
Night Force. I'm not exaggerating.
2 through 5.
I'll keep you in mind.
Different
now
thing.
That I've said this,
1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 you can find, but for some reason 2 through 5 has been elusive.
I find entire runs. Yeah,
I had 2 sets of that, and the first time that came up, I go, well, I'll just go pull those out. It all sold, which shocked me. Not because I'm so used to DC's not selling that. It's kind of nice to see that something had, but
there is a very loyal audience. I find that with the auction for the old DC stuff. It's really kind of cool.
Oh, it's just our store now. The people coming in are just so many Marvel spec hunters.
Well,
one guy,
I'm sure it's spec that does that, but there's a niche market that just buys horror. The supernatural fans and stuff, and they'll look for other stuff like that and hear about things. But
learned not my auction, man. I don't know. Yeah. Graphic Man, did you get it? I had the most beautiful freaking copy of Dark. What was it? Dark Dimension,
Dark Mansion of Forbidden Love.
Dark Mansion. You're the one that got that.
What was it, Graphic Man?
That was tell me that was a gorgeous book. That was
fabulous. Black cover, which you'd be afraid of all these little nicks, but it looked gorgeous. So
yeah, that's why I won't get a PayPal, because I'd be that I would have been bidding through the roof for that. It's a lot nicer than the one I used to have. I know that.
I was surprised that it survived, and that you still had it available, because I contacted you on the side, and you go, "Yeah, I'll let it go for
Yeah, I think my hardcover Night Force was like a $5 purchase, $4.99 purchase at Ollie's. So, yeah.
Oh man, that would be nice. Yeah, I was so disappointed that book didn't sell. Ghosts. I didn't sell Ghosts #1 on the first time either, and I had a very beautiful copy of that.
I think Charleston 66, when I was at his house years ago, he's got some bound comics, and he's got Night Force bound, all the original ones. So he's the one that made me a second chance on that one. All right, how many more you got to show there?
Oh no, that was my shopping day, sir.
All right,
that is that.
Well, I'm the guy that's got to get up early in the morning, so we got to wrap this up in the next 15 minutes.
Tim, put me
right ahead.
Put him on full screen so you can see this gorgeous book I sold to him at the auction.
I love that Gothic romance stuff of the Dark Shadows era.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
That is a gorgeous freaking book. I want it back. Hey. Be nice.
Oh, that's such good stuff.
Yeah.
I had yet to file it away, so I could easily get to it.
Well, apparently the website we're using here loves that book also. There it goes. There's a huge delay on getting you off solo, man. So apparently it really wanted to see that book.
Yep.
Oh, I see. You want the tag. Okay. There you go. All right. It's okay. He likes to eat the tags.
All right.
Heroes.
I'm the short guy that collects comics if you go there, trusty sidekick. So
hey, what's up?
All right. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I got to work in the morning. I'm that guy. So thanks for all popping in here, man. And of course, check out Graphic Man's channel. Look for Breen everywhere. He's on everybody's channel. And then check out Englentine. You got several channels. Which one do you want him to check out?
I love comics. That's the live stream one.
I love comics. Got it, man. All right. So basically just about everything you've shown is going to be up for auction. What day?
Next week. Next Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. So people watch this in the future. This is, like I said at the beginning of the show, May 22nd, 2022. So it's a Saturday after that. That's nice. All right. See you guys later.
Good night, kids.